Johnson bowls to Anderson, he's edged it, and now he is caught. Caught at second slip.
Here's Johnson, bowls, and Bairstow drives, nicks, caught behind.
He gets wickets, he's a fast bowler. Nobody's been able to play him.
Always brought up is, what was your favourite series? And a lot of people come up, must be that 13-14 Ashes series. It was definitely in the top two. It's a real hard one because South Africa after that was pretty close. So it's probably out of those two series, but I'd say that series, 37 wickets, got a few runs as well. And probably the way I went about the game was very, very much old school, that intimidating style of cricket.
A gully, forward short leg, and an angry-looking Johnson, who runs in round the wicket, bowls to Broad, a nasty one down the leg side, they're appealing for a catch, he's out.
I bowled in short spells, I didn't bowl too many long spells, I wasn't there to try and bowl dot balls, it was bowl my short ball, intimidate the batsman, work with your partner at the other end, they'll get it up there and swing it, if it was Ryan Harris or if it was Peter Siddle. Nathan Lyon bowling his spin, so it was good fun.
Strauss now to face the last ball. This good over from Johnson. He bowls to him short, and Strauss is going to be caught at slip. He is off the handle of the bat, high up on it. And Johnson has suddenly got into this tour with a 93 mph short ball.
Yeah, well, the 2010-11 Ashes wasn't my greatest, but it was a great learning curve at the same time.
In comes Johnson, and Peterson drives him smoothly and beautifully through extra cover for 4.
Over pitch, full toss rubbish.
Johnson's in his third over. He hasn't taken a wicket so far. And he's pacing in again. Up he comes, slings that down outside the off stump. He's cut for 4. He's short and wide.
I remember the first test just getting absolutely smashed all over the park. And the frustrating thing was that you're part of a team. It's not an individual sport. So although individually you have to be at your best, it is a team game. And unfortunately at that time I was, struggling probably mentally, but a little bit physically as well with certain things. Just playing the game for a few years at that point. I think I started in 2007 and sort of was continuously playing for Australia. So it sort of built up over time. Yeah, I just remember struggling. I couldn't bowl the ball where I wanted to bowl it. I was just struggling with everything. I was trying to make excuses in my head. Just everything was going on.
In comes Johnson, bowls on the leg stump again, and Cook taps it away, and this will go for 4. He's timed that perfectly and bisected fine leg and square leg, and that was not a very good over from Mitchell Johnson.
Peterson clips him through mid-wicket. He falls over in the process. The ball may well go all the way to the boundary.
It really is a poor ball by Johnson. It's straight on Kevin Peterson's pads, exactly where he wants him to bowl.
And then I think I was dropped for the next test in Adelaide, and I ended up working with Dennis Lilly and our strength and conditioning fitness coach at the time, Stu Karpinen. And I worked on a couple of things before the Perth test, and then I got picked to play that Perth test and had a great game. I remember just swinging the ball and it just came out really well. But even then, I still thought in the back of my mind that I didn't quite have it. I still was mentally struggling with a few things. Came the next test and I did struggle a little bit. I was a bit up and down, and that was sort of the start of my career, really. It was that up and down sort of roller coaster ride for me.
Johnson, no wickets, no runs, drop catches. He can't bat, can't bowl, can't field of this tour.
So, yeah, it was a really difficult series, but also a really positive one that I was able to learn from it. And I've always looked at it that way throughout my career. Maybe not at the time, I may not be thinking the positive side of it, but when I look at it and think of all the things that I worked on, there was a lot of positives that came from it. So it was tough, but it was just the way it was.
Andrew Strauss joins his teammates. He gets a warm shake of the hand from Michael Vaughan, who hands over the Waterford crystal urn, and there they go. Those are the pictures that you'll see on your back pages, possibly as early as tomorrow. And are being smothered by glittery stuff that's just exploded into the air. It's like a blizzard here.
I was pretty flat. I think that sort of led up to me getting an injury in South Africa. There was a fair bit going on behind the scenes for me, and I wasn't able to just leave that behind the scenes. I started to bring that into my cricket, and my mental game really struggled. I didn't want to play cricket for a while. It was about a month that I just had no interest in cricket at all, and I didn't miss it. I wasn't sure if I was going to play again. I was 30, had an injury. A lot of people saying that I was down the pecking order in the bowling ranks. And then I started to get that desire back, and I had a plan. I made a plan to work myself back into the team get myself another chance, or give myself another chance. And the process was a long process. I sourced out some guys in Perth, the Mill Gym, ex-run SAS guys, and just learnt a lot of discipline and a lot of hard work. And that was a real good starter for me. And actually something I stick to these days just outside of cricket. So they helped me with a lot of things, but ultimately it all came down to me and having the belief.
Johnson starts a new over. He slings it wide of off stump. Bell at top edge on the cut, and he's caught. Caught by Tate at third man, 4 metres in from the boundary rope.
The other thing is just enjoying the game. I think I lost the love and enjoyment of the game. And when you're in that bubble for so long, you do tend to miss that and forget about the enjoyment side of it, because we all play it. We all started playing it because we enjoyed it. So, yeah, I was able to go back in, had the belief, I had done all the mental, the physical stuff outside of that. And, yeah, I just got myself into a really good place and to really enjoy the game again.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free.
Ahead of the 13-14 Ashes series, it was pretty nerve-wracking, to be honest. I was really unsure of how I was going to go. I'd missed out on the series before that in England. I didn't get in the squad. And at first I was a little bit upset, but also relieved at the same time, because I was really nervous about getting back into Test cricket, and especially back into Test cricket playing an Ashes series, which is, it's the top for us.
Advance Australia fair, in joyful strength and let us sing. Advance Australia fair.
Good morning from us, good evening to you, and welcome to the Gabba, where we're half an hour away from the first ball of the next instalment of Ashes history.
The Gabatoir, the joys of bowling there, the fast, bouncy track. It's quite a big ground as well, so like square boundaries are quite big, so you can use a short ball quite effectively there as a wicket-taking delivery.
It's a gorgeous day here in Brisbane, just some puffy white clouds around blue sky. It's hot, and there's a real buzz around Brisbane and around this very special cricket ground at the moment.
Coming to that 13-14 series, I was still pretty nervous because I hadn't tested myself at Test cricket.
Here we go, the first ball of the Ashes series. Anderson runs in bowls. Oh, he tries to take the bat out of the way there. I reckon Rogers, who plays it down into the gully. A late decision, waiting for some in-swing. It didn't happen.
I remember the first 2 overs bowling to Alistair Cook. I couldn't actually breathe. I was physically struggling to breathe because I was so nervous.
Johnson moves in once more to bowl to Cook. It's short and Cook goes after it and swaps that away out towards the deep forward square leg boundary. I can see the ball there bobbling tantalisingly towards the rope in the distance. Has just enough on it.
And he got a pull shot away from me early on. And I felt like it was a good ball, and it was one of my strengths, bowling the short ball. And he got it away, and I was a bit sort of gutted. And I thought, not again. And then I went back to fine leg, and I just sort of composed myself and got myself back into a good space. And I came back for a second spell and got my first wicket. And that sort of just sent me on my way. And yeah, I felt pretty good throughout the whole series.
Johnson bowls to Trott, it's down the leg side, he tries to flick it away, he's a bit of a catch and he's out! Australia made a breakthrough just before lunch.
Johnson's on his way, he's there and he bowls. That's a full length, his edge should have caught it slip, and that is brilliant cricket by the Australians.
Johnson comes up and bowls to Trott. Trott goes back and he hits the ball in the air, he's out! He's caught behind square.
When you come up against Mitchell Johnson, he's in that kind of form, he can really rough you over.
In he goes and he bowls to Anderson. Down the leg side, he's going to be caught. He's going to be caught by Johnson himself. Caught and bowled. It's all over, and Australia win by 381 runs. Mitchell Johnson finishes with 5 wickets, 9 in the match. Man of the match, surely.
Yeah, there was a pretty clear game plan, and the game plan was to, I wouldn't say be nasty, but just not interact with the England team at all when we saw them around the ground. Outside the ground, yeah, say hello, but don't engage too much. So we made a real effort to, I guess, not say anything to them at all. I heard that they found that was quite nasty. We may have even been called some nasty names by them, but that was a clear game plan for us. that was the one thing that I was really, really happy about, is that we stuck to our game plans throughout the whole series, and we never let up. I actually remember in the first test, I didn't mind getting verbal generally, but I made a real conscious effort not to say anything in that first test, especially. It was Kevin Peterson. I think he got off a single, and he came down towards me and started chirping at me, and I had covered my mouth to not say anything because I was worried I was going to, blurt something out, and so I didn't say anything, and it was a first for me. And I think he actually wrote about that in his book as well. He was a bit surprised, and he thought, this is a different Mitchell Johnson. So, yeah, I definitely was pretty proud of that moment to hold my tongue.
Here we are, 11 days and thousands of miles via Alice Springs later in Adelaide, the city of churches, where England desperately need to win and to level this series. The sun's shining at the moment. We've had some passing showers. It's that sort of day today. They're blowing through on a strong breeze.
I think for me individually, I was trying to go from Brisbane to Adelaide and perform well there as well, because I'd felt like I'd never had that consistency through my career. It was that roller coaster ride that I had. Whereas I just wanted to have that consistency, like Glenn McGrath used to say, you want to bring your good performances and bad performances closer together.
And in goes Anderson to bowl the first ball. It swings into the left-hander with no real pace there, I must say, and pushed out to Carberry at point, and we're underway. Here is again, bowls, and it's bowling! Cook it out, and he looked all at sea. And Alistair Cook is bowled by Mitchell Johnson.
Here comes Lyon, and Root swings it in the air. It's going out behind square. It could be caught. He's out. He's caught. That's a poor shot. He's caught by Rogers in the deep.
There is more brains in a chocolate mouse.
Comes Johnson again, bowls, edged, and it's out, I think, caught behind. Fantastic bowling by Mitchell Johnson. It just carried to Brad Haddin. Pryor walks rather sadly off.
Johnson goes in looking to finish it off. Bowls to Panesar. He has finished it off. He's bowled him. England are all out. Bowled out for 172. A terrible day of batting for them, apart from Ian Bell, who's 72 not out. And England are 398 runs behind on first innings.
So I guess when we got to Adelaide and I was able to perform there, I sort of felt like even the team was starting to really get up and about, really have that confidence and that belief as well. Because you can never get too far ahead of yourself in the game, because it will come back to bite you. And we knew that England were a great side.
Australia have declared on their overnight score of 132 for 3. They are going to waste no more time to get at England.
Johnson bowls short. Cook goes to hook it. Down to long leg it comes, and Harris takes the catch. What an appalling start. Not sure I believe I've seen that. Alistair Cook has hooked Mitchell Johnson to long leg. Harris takes the catch, and England are 1 for 1. Harris bowls, and Panesar's caught, and it's all over. A sorrowful performance by England is all you can say, as they've lost this second test match, and they go 2-0 down.
We got that win in Adelaide, and we had a bit of confidence going into Perth. We knew that we were close.
How very different it is now, with England absolutely on the back foot, and Australia widely expected to win this match and to win the Ashes.
But we weren't sure until that very final ball. We had to be on it the whole time. So we just had this incredible focus throughout the whole series, where we never thought for one moment at the start we were going to win 5-0. Obviously, you want to win the best that you can, but we just took one game at a time. It was as cliched as that, and we had every bit of focus on each game.
Warner just turns that with his wrist neatly past short leg and goes for the single that brings him to 50.
Anderson goes in, that's swung away, and that's gone for 4. That was a magnificent shot. Swung away off the back foot by Smith, and the score goes up to 236 for 5.
Pleasant again, and then he's gone. Siddle nibbled at that and was taken behind the wicket, and the innings is over for 385.
Johnson again past Billy Bowden is there. He bowls the Yorker, appeal flag before wicket. I'm giving it out from here. He's gone. Absolutely plumb. Not even Stuart Broad's going to review that.
Siddle again Starting in now, up to the wicket, bowls now to Anderson there, and he's gone there. He played that away. He was caught there at short leg, fended away off his body. Bailey took the catch, and that is the end. Anderson is out. England all out for 251.
Anderson in again, bowls down leg side. Watson flicks, he celebrates. A leg glance for Watson, he salutes the sky, takes his helmet off now. Well played, Shane Watson. Terrific 100 here at the Wacker. Warner, 97, waits for Swan. Cuts, and he's going to get 4, I think. Here, this is going to be his 100. Yes, the ball's gone behind square on the offside. David Warner, helmet off, jumps in the air.
22 off it, Anderson bowls, and he's smashed him again. Another 6. Over long on. Surely that's it. Michael Clarke, call them in. They've had enough.
And Michael Clarke is calling them in.
Well, what a way to finish. 28 off that Anderson over.
And that's 504 runs. So
504 to win.
Clarke was looking at that 500 mark before he pulled them in.
Johnson's on his way. Bowls to Anderson is there, and that's into the leg side. He's taken. Anderson is out. Mitchell Johnson takes a wicket, and how fitting it should be that it's Mitchell Johnson that takes the wicket that wins Australia the Ashes.
Yeah, there was a time of reflection, and through all the heartache, it did come up, and it made me quite emotional at the time.
He was taken apart last time England were here, destroyed by the Barmy Army, and what a response this man has made.
You know, just sitting back with people that you've gone through that whole situation with, my family and friends. Yeah, it was very emotional. Those achievements, it actually probably goes back to the 3rd test after winning it, where I really felt that joy, because we won an Ashes series, hadn't won one before, and been involved in a few. And yeah, it probably was that 3rd test where I remember standing with my arms out, and I felt like a bit of a goose actually, but I was in the moment and I just really felt like I'd achieved something. I went to a bowling camp with Dennis Lillee in 1999, and I hit 140 kilometres an hour in the nets, bowling to a guy called Lee Castledine, who played for Queensland. And I guess at that point, I sort of thought that was pretty quick. But it wasn't until I spoke to Dennis Lillee and he spoke to me about, you know, your left armour, you've got that extra bit of pace, you've got this, you've got that. And then it started to sink in a little bit after that. But it took me a while to know exactly how to harness all that speed that you have and to have it, use that in control, use that aggression as well. So all those things took a little while, but yeah, it was probably at early 20s that I really realised that, I had some pace.
And in goes Johnson, bowls short. Oh, now what's he done here? He's going to be caught. Flintoff's going to be caught at short 3rd man. It was good bowling from Johnson. Short ball aimed at the body.
I actually wanted to play tennis. So it wasn't even cricket, but I wanted to be like Pete Sampras. He was my idol, and Stefan Edberg. But as I got a little bit older and cricket became a bit more prominent for me, I wanted to be like Curtly Ambrose.
Comes in and bowls on the off stump. It's caught at first slip by Lara. Classic fast bowling by Curtly Ambrose.
I remember watching Curtly Ambrose in a one-day series, and I was at my best friend's house, and we'd go in the backyard and I'd bowl like him, the same action, but obviously I was a left arm version. And what I absolutely loved about him was the way he went about the game. He bowled fast, but he had that aggressive nature to him. He just had that stare, which I really loved, and it always stuck with me. And then as I started to get into my cricket a bit more, I think it was like Brett Lee. I remember saying in an article that I wanted to bowl as fast as Brett Lee, if not faster. So he was probably another hero of mine, and I got to play with him over a few years as well, so that was pretty exciting.
Hello everyone, good morning and happy Christmas. Hope you're having a great day and preparing for the long haul through the night. I think judging by what's happened so far, you might need a couple of stiff ones to get you through, but here we are at the MCG, this vast concrete stadium with the crowd piling in.
A Boxing Day test match is very special, but an Ashes one is even more special.
Here is the first ball of the Boxing Day test.
When you've got 85,000 plus fans there, nothing beats it.
There's Ryan Harris who bowls and Cook comes prodding forward, a little uncertainly if I'm honest, and there's no run. So we're underway.
It's what you play sport for. Well, that's the ultimate really, like it's out there playing in front of huge crowds and showcasing your talent.
We're heading up towards, it's only 80,000, they're hoping here for 90. It's Mitchell Johnson bowling to Bresnan, and he goes and bowls short, it's fended away, and he's out first ball. Running back, a very good catch there by Bailey at short leg.
Johnson bowled. Owen Broad is trapped. He's out in front. Yes, he's LBW. He's LBW. And Broad has gone. LBW to Johnson, who's got his 5th wicket.
As if they're bullying England now, really. It's just, it's a little bit unkind.
Root comes forward driving and gets a run down that Johnson at mid-off. He tries at the stumps, and I think he's hit them, and that could be out. The Australians are certain it is out. Well, what a cricketer he is. Goodness me. He's scored runs, he's done things like that in the field, and look at his wickets.
Panesar on his way, moves in bowls to Watson, who hits it away over the leg side, and that's it. He's celebrating before the ball goes into the boundary, which it surely will. And Australia have hammered England here. They've hammered them in the series, they've hammered them in this match. By 8 wickets here, by 4-0 in the series.
I still get goosebumps to the 13-14 series, and I get a lot of people come up and talk to me about that one. And I think just having an impact on an Ashes series, I'll never lose that, and I'm always going to be proud of it.
The Australians there, led by Michael Clarke, actually telling the crowd to make a noise. In comes Harris, and he bowls to Rankin, who's brilliantly caught by Michael Clarke at second slip. And that is it, 5-0 to Australia. A crushing defeat by 281 runs. And the players are in a little knot, congratulating each other. They've absolutely blown England away.
I got the opportunity to play an Ashes series in a few, and I was able to win one. So I'm happy. I'm just happy that I was able to play with good people, play against great opposition, the best players in the world.
The Australian Ashes team winning the series.
Okay, up they all come onto the podium. This is the moment that the Australians here have all been waiting for. Shane Warne has handed that crystal urn to Michael Clarke. He's leaving the stage. There'll be fireworks, there'll be all sorts going off now. And Michael Clarke has the little replica. Up it all goes. Green and gold is the bunting, being fired out of these cannons on either side.
The man of the series is Mitchell Johnson.
Well, I actually don't remember lifting the urn, to be honest. I just remember being so exhausted. I honestly felt so tired. So we'd had the presentations and you're still bubbling and everything's going. You're absolutely loving it. It's great. And then we're walking off the field. I think we did a bit of signing and some photos and things like that. And you're still in that moment. It was pretty amazing, pretty special. And then I remember walking into the change room, and I stood in a corner next to a slushy machine that we had. Someone had poured vodka and stuff like that into it. So that was my first drink. And I just remember standing in the corner, having this slushy vodka and just wanting to fall asleep. And my wife had come in, and we had like heaps of people in the dressing room at the time celebrating with us. And all I wanted to do was go to sleep. I was done. I was exhausted. And yeah, a couple more vodkas later, then I was okay.